Good evening, everyone. This is Michael Brown, Director of Sales for the Christine Ritchie team and the Ambassador of Hope for real estate here in Westchester County, right? And what I wanted to talk to you guys about was what's been happening in the last 7 days in the real estate industry, the effect of the pandemic on our industry from March 15th till today here locally, right? So we're just going to look at a really micro economics and what happened here in Westchester County, residential real estate only. And then we're going to look at the month of April, right? Because that's I have a full subset of what listings came in the market, how many of those listings went into contract, and how many listings actually closed that month, right? So let's get started, man. And before I get started, I wanted to thank all my professionals out there who are pushing along in this industry and serving the public on a high level, being safe, wearing your mask, and still keeping things moving forward. And just extremely grateful that I have the opportunity to serve the people here in Westchester County and to serve my clients, right? So let's get started. So what I want to do with you is I want to share my screen so you can see the numbers for the last 7 days in real estate in Westchester County. And this is just single family homes, right? Because that's really what I spend most of my time with is single family residential real estate. In the last 7 days, we've had 165 new single family listings here in Westchester County from 86 new properties going into contract, right? So 86 people signed the contract to buy a house in the last 7 days. And there have been 101 closings. And if you're in the industry, you know that the closings sometimes those are negotiated 3 months back, right? So not a fair reflection of what's happening now, but also it will give you a sense of are things getting to the finish line. I was speaking to a seller last week, and he's like, I've heard so many deals falling apart. I mean, if the borrower lost their job, unfortunately, that deal is going to fall apart. But for the most part, things are moving along as if, right? And the banks are still lending. I think the appraisers are doing some drive-by appraisals, depending on if the property's vacant. And I think it all depends on the appraiser. Certain appraisers feel more comfortable accessing property, being safe, and others don't. And that's okay, right? So that's what's happening in the last 7 days. What we're going to look at next is Gary Leo Grande, who is our broker of record for the office. He shared this email with us and kind of broke down what happened between March 15th and May 15th, right? So let's look at that. Let me share that screen. And when I got that email, I was blown away. I was like, wow, this market, if you listen to the wrong people, you think that nothing is going on, right? So let's look at that. So he sent out this email. In Westchester County, there's been 2,032 new listings that have entered the MLS between March 15th and May 15th. 193 of those that actually came on between that period have gone into contract with the buyer. And there's been a total of 1,176 listings in Westchester County in general that have gone into contract between March 15th and May 15th, right? So some of those homes, they were listed in January, February, December, and they finally went into contract in March. So 1176 is a huge number, especially during this period where we weren't able to show traditionally. Most of our showings have been virtual. All my open houses have been virtual ever since that date. So it was pretty profound to see that 1,176 people decided to sign a contract and felt comfortable enough to move forward with the purchase without seeing the property somewhat firsthand, face to face. And I thought that was really eye-opening because I think traditionally we think, well, no one wants to buy a house without looking at it. Well, there was a time when no one wanted to buy groceries online. And it's just been a shift in how we shop, how we trust the internet. When the internet first came out, couldn't get me to put my social security on there. And now I have no problem filling out a form as long as it's secure. So there has been a shift in the confidence of using the internet to conduct somewhat large and important transactions in our life, whether it be brokerage, moving stocks around or selling houses. These are very important decisions that people make. And now they can be done online confidently, right? That's number one. The next numbers I want to look at is I want to look at April 2020 versus April 2019. And then you can see the difference in what was happening last year versus this year. and where I think the market is going. Again, if I had a crystal ball, filthy rich. No, I'm just kidding. But let's dive into that. So I'm going to share my screen with you on that. So in Westchester County in April 2020, there were 268 listings. Traditionally, in April, we would have listed over 1,260 properties. And this is just single family homes. That's a decrease of almost 80% in listings taken. Closed sales are at 340 versus 385, right? So still neck and neck with the closings. And what I thought was pretty interesting, although the listings dropped off, the closings didn't drop off either. And then I'm going to shift to another slide where I show you the things that went into contract in April. And you can see that that April contracts have outpaced the April new listings. And that blew me away. There were 346 properties that went into contract in April. And this metrics, we're looking at single family condos and co-ops. We're not looking at multifamily homes, 2 to 4 families. And we know big parts of southern Westchester, that's a big part of our market, Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, a lot of multifamily homes, right? So that is not even taken into account in this number here. But so listings taken, new listings down 78%, almost 80%. On the condos, also down 75%. And on the co-ops, also down 77%. So across the board, they were down. What I thought was really interesting was the days on market, right? In April, there were 88 days on market on average, where traditionally last year we were at 91 days, right? So the market is moving slightly faster because there's less competition. And I also think that the buyers out there, they're not going to see 5, 6, 7, 20 houses. They're going to look at 3, and they're going to pick one of the 3 because they want to be cautious as well. They don't want to be out there, going in strange homes. No one wants to get sick buying a house, right? Now, this was the other number that I thought was really interesting. Median sales price, $688,250, up 10% in April during a pandemic, right? So really eye-opening to see that property values are going to hold steady, and in some neighborhoods they may increase. Now, in some neighborhoods they may decrease. Very well, right? When I did the research and looked at various towns and cities within Westchester, there were some areas that had no inventory, or very little. I can count on my hand how many houses were for sale. And then there were some neighborhoods that had 50, 60, 70 active listings, right? So it's all neighborhood specific. The other metric that I thought was pretty interesting was looking at last year versus this year, and the 4 months leading up to April of last year versus the 4 months leading up until this year. Closed sales, 5867 versus 5831. So we were on pace in the last 12 months to beat 2019's numbers as far as sales. So the demand has been relatively strong. And if you have a job, keep pursuing your goals, right? The demand, what I found in our marketplace, particularly in White Plains, Valhalla, Mount Pleasant, has been extremely strong, and the active listings hasn't kept up with the demand. And so when I look at all these numbers, that's exactly what it told me. It told me that our pendings, things that are going into contract, are outpacing how much property is going on the market, right? So if you were thinking about moving to Florida this year, and you're healthy and you're safe and everything's good, move to Florida, put your house on the market, and put it on now. And the reason why I say put it on now is if you wait till when things loosen up, real estate is phase 2 here in New York. Phase 1 is already open. As phase 2, in fact, as phase 1 opened up, I don't know if you were on the road today, there was more traffic on the streets. There's going to be more people looking at houses. There's going to be an increased amount of competition if you're a buyer and or if you're a seller. Right? So get your house on the market today, this week, ASAP. Let's beat the rest of the market, because once June really takes effect, our mentors are telling us that our spring market, which was traditionally March through May through June, we're going to pull from August and September and pull that into our spring market. So traditionally here in Westchester, where August might be a dead month where people are traveling a lot, we're predicting that that is still going to be a very busy month for us. And I was really floored by when I looked into the numbers and saw how much of an opportunity there was on both sides, whether you're a buyer and or if you're a seller. And if you're an agent in this industry, you need to communicate what's happening in your local market and communicate with facts. Facts trumps emotion all the time. So when you're talking to buyers and sellers, they're like, nothing's moving. No one's selling anything. You just give them the facts. And in our next video, I want to dive into certain neighborhoods so we can really see where this thing is moving. When I looked yesterday, White Plains, Yonkers, they were all having price appreciations, or the median price there in those neighborhoods were all appreciating. And I thought that was pretty interesting, even in a market where people are thinking we may have a downturn. Remember, this recession, or this thing that we're experiencing now, it's not a financial recession. It's a health, it's a world recession. And I think it's going to impact us in different ways. And one thing that I find pretty interesting in all recessions, where one sector may see job loss and see it really go down, there's going to be another sector that really goes up, right? Healthcare, technology. So, where there's opportunity is when there's some adversity. And we've seen that in our markets time and time again. If you were around in 2017, 18 bubble, I was there. You saw a lot of opportunity on the other side once we got through it. The other thing I want to share with you is the pending sales, 346, right? So Westchester County, year over year, we're probably down about 60% in pending properties that would have went in the contract, but the listings are down almost 80%, which tells me there's about a 16% gap where the pendings, things that are going into contract, are outpacing active listings. So again, if you're worried that there's not enough buyers out there for your home, talk to your professional, your real estate professional. Get a pricing strategy going now, so that if you're not ready right now, you can start to look at where those trends are happening in your particular neighborhood. Talk to your lender if you're thinking about buying a house. I've never seen the mortgage rates this cheap or this low, 2.8%. I was talking with one of my lenders yesterday. And I've been in the business 18 years. So I think it's a perfect storm if you are still employed. You have some confidence around your employment. You have some reserves, and you're not going to spend your last dollar to leverage this house. I say buy the house. If that was your goal this year, to buy a home and move your family and grow, then go ahead and keep doing that. If your goal was to move to Florida, move to North Carolina, or upgrade or downgrade, then you should continue with your goals. Our mentor, he's been telling us, just from a sales and financial point, he says, Mike, do not change your goals. Yeah, things are tougher. Things may be a little different, but do not change your goals. You may have to shift the activities to hit your goal, but do not change your goal. And that's all I'm going to leave with today. If you have any questions, concerns, or feedback, please feel free to leave a message here on YouTube or Facebook, or call me, 718-541-6149. If you're curious about the particular values in your part of town, I'll be glad to dig deeper into that neighborhood for you and share that with you. All right? Be well.